A lot of investors think the only way to get cash out of their 1031 exchange is to pay a big tax bill to the IRS. Well, I have to tell them they're wrong. With some good planning, you can avoid the tax bill and pull out equity in case you want to diversify out of real estate, in case you need to set up a nest egg of emergency funds for your retirement. Whatever the issue is, got to pay for a granddaughter's wedding, whatever you need that cash for, when you're involved in a 1031 exchange with proper planning, you can position yourself to pull that cash out without triggering a dime. Now, there's a couple ways to do that. First and foremost, let's say I'm selling my investment real estate for $1 million, and after I sell, I do a 1031 exchange, I take my $1 million, take all cash, and I buy a replacement property. Depending on the property, depending on what type of property it is, and depending on who the tenants are, you can go back to your bank after you're finished with your 1031 exchange and say, hey, Mr. Banker, I've got a brand new property, no mortgage on the property. Based on the rents and or the tenant, how much are you willing to refinance my real estate for so I can pull out some cash? So depending on the rates and depending on the other factors that I mentioned, you can possibly pull out 30, 40, 50%, maybe even greater, 60% of the equity of your property. Now, of course, you have to service that loan. That's one way of doing it. We have other ways of doing it. Now, what if I were to tell you there's a way to do it where the loan during the refi will be non-recourse, so you don't have to sign for it personally? So there's a product out there called Delaware Statutory Trust, commonly referred to as DSTs, and some of these properties have a refinance option available. So instead of taking all my $1 million, with some good planning, you can decide how much cash do I need from my 1031 exchange. So I'm just going to go with $1 million, whether that's all the 1031 exchange, or let's say it's just a portion, but we'll use $1 million for easy math. So now I take my $1 million, right, after I've set up my exchange account with a qualified intermediary, and I buy into the DST with the refinance option. Now, I wait 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, I get some monthly income, and when I need to, I can trigger the option for the refi, and some of these programs have up to 84% loan to value. So on that $1 million, I can refinance out $840,000 without triggering any tax. Now, the loan will be a 20-year interest-only loan, non-recourse, coterminous with the 20-year lease on the property. Typically, these DSTs are built around a 20-year absolute triple net lease guaranteed by a credit-rated tenant. So typically, we're looking for triple B or better credit rating on the tenant. So the sponsor puts in what we call credit tenant lease financing, CTL financing. This allows the investor the option to pull some cash out in the future in case they need it without triggering any tax. And the sponsor takes care of diverting the rents to service the 20-year interest-only loan. Now, part of the strategy, there are no guarantees in life. Well, what we hope to have happen is the same thing that happened in the last 20 years of real estate. We hope that the property will appreciate in value over the holding period of 20 years. For the older clients, this can be a great strategy tied into their estate planning, because let's say we have an investor who's 75 or older. They're going to go into a 20-year hold type property. Most likely, they're going to leave that asset to their heirs. And so When the investor passes, now mom and dad got used to that money while they were alive for their retirement, for whatever purpose they needed that money for. And then when they pass, the heirs are going to receive a step up in cost basis. So when they sell that property in 20 years, the heirs most likely will not have to pay any capital gains or depreciation recapture. They won't have to replace that interest-only loan, and they can take the balance of the proceeds. So when they sell the property, they're going to pay off that loan through the proceeds of the sale of that property, and the heirs can walk away with the balance of the equity. The original 15% left in the deal, plus any appreciation that happens over the hold period. So strategies are there. When you're selling your investment real estate, if you have to pull some cash out, the real question is, how much money do you need? And what strategy do you think you can deploy to pull those funds out without triggering tax? I always like to say that making a 15% investment always beats a 30 to 40% tax. I don't think we need any advanced financial calculators for that one. So if you like this video, hit like and subscribe and check out our other videos.